Title: Tifu, by ignoring a mysterious letter and unraveling my family's secret history. Growing up in a small town, life was simple. My family lived in an old Victorian house that had been passed down through generations. The house, with its creaky floors and hidden nooks, always felt like it held secrets. My grandmother would often tell stories of our ancestors, but she always seemed to skip over certain details, leaving me with a burning curiosity. One day, as I was cleaning out the attic, I stumbled upon an old, dusty chest. Inside, I found a collection of letters, photographs, and a beautifully crafted pendant with an unfamiliar family crest. The oldest letter, dated back to the early 1900s, was addressed to my great-great-grandfather, William. The handwriting was elegant but frantic, and it read, "Dear William, if this letter finds you, know that time is of the essence. The society is after the pendant. Protect it at all costs and trust no one. It holds the key to our family's legacy and must not fall into the wrong hands. I fear for our future if it does. Yours in desperation, Eleanor." Confused and intrigued, I decided to dig deeper. I began researching the pendant and the mysterious society mentioned in the letter. My search led me to an old bookstore in town, where the elderly owner, Mrs. Winters, recognized the pendant immediately. She hesitated before revealing that her grandmother, Eleanor, had written that letter. Mrs. Winters explained that our families were once united in a secret society that protected ancient artifacts. The pendant I held was not just a family heirloom, it was a key to a hidden vault containing a treasure that many believed was just a legend. The society had disbanded after a betrayal from within, leading to a rift between our families. Realizing the gravity of what I had uncovered, I decided to find the vault. With Mrs. Winters' help, we deciphered clues from the letters, leading us to believe the vault was hidden somewhere in my family's estate. As days turned into weeks, my house transformed into an excavation site. We discovered secret passages and rooms, each holding a piece of the puzzle. But as we got closer to the treasure, strange things began to happen. I'd find objects moved, hear whispers in the night, and once, a shadowy figure darted away when I entered a room. One evening, as I was studying a map, I realized that the vault's entrance was right under the house's main hall. Excitedly, I rushed to the spot and, using the pendant, unlocked a hidden trapdoor. Inside, we found a chamber filled with gold, jewels, and artifacts from around the world. But our celebration was short-lived. The room's door slammed shut, and guests began to fill the chamber. Panicking, I fumbled with the pendant, hoping it would offer a way out. Just as I felt my consciousness slipping, I managed to find a hidden switch in the pendant, opening a secret exit. Emerging from the vault, we were met by a group of people.
Title: Tifu, by accidentally sending my boss a video of my cat's special talent. So this happened last week, but the aftermath has been unfolding over the past few days, and I'm still cringing at the thought of it. For context, I recently adopted a cat named Whiskers. Whiskers is no ordinary cat. He has this weird talent where he can stand on his hind legs and do a little dance whenever he hears the song Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars. I have no idea why or how he picked up this habit, but it's the funniest thing ever. Naturally, I took a video of it and have been showing it off to friends and family because, let's be honest, it's pure gold. Now, on to the Tifu. I work in a pretty formal corporate setting. We have weekly team meetings where we discuss our progress on various projects. Due to the ongoing pandemic, we've been doing these meetings virtually. My boss, Mr. Thompson, is a stern, no-nonsense kind of guy. He's not the type to engage in small talk or share personal stories. All business, all the time. Last week, I was working on a presentation for one of our major clients. I had to record a video walkthrough of the project's progress and send it to Mr. Thompson for review before the actual meeting. I spent hours perfecting this video, ensuring every detail was just right. Once I finished, I quickly went to my files and saw a video thumbnail that looked professional enough. Without double-checking, first mistake, I attached it to an email, wrote a brief message about the content, and hit send. Fast forward to the next morning. I logged into my email and saw a message from Mr. Thompson with the subject, Video Walkthrough. My heart sank when I opened it. The message read, "Is this some kind of joke? Please explain." Confused, I clicked on the video attachment I had sent him. To my horror, instead of the polished presentation I had worked on, the video was of Whiskers dancing on his hind legs to Uptown Funk. I was mortified. How could I have mixed up the videos? I immediately sent an apologetic email explaining the mix-up and attached the correct video. I braced myself for the team meeting later that day. When the virtual meeting started, I noticed a few colleagues snickering. As Mr. Thompson began discussing the agenda, he paused, cleared his throat, and said, "Before we dive in, I'd like to address an interesting video I received from my name yesterday." My face turned beet red. I could feel everyone's eyes on me. "To lighten the mood during these challenging times," he continued, "I thought we could all use a laugh. So, without further ado..." And then, on the shared screen, there was Whiskers, dancing away to Bruno Mars. The entire team burst into laughter. I wanted to crawl into a hole and disappear. After the video ended, Mr. Thompson, with a smirk, said, "Thank you, my name, for that unexpected entertainment. Now let's get back to business." The rest of the meeting went on as usual, but I could tell people were holding back their giggles every time they looked at me. Over the next few days, I received countless messages from colleagues, some teasing me, others sharing their own embarrassing stories to make me feel better. One coworker even sent me a video of her dog howling to Adele. In the end, while it was a massive blunder on my part, it did bring some much-needed laughter to the team. And I've learned a valuable lesson. Always double-check your attachments. TLDR. Sent my boss a video of my cat dancing to Uptown Funk instead of a professional presentation. Became the laughingstock of the entire team. Title: Tifu, by trusting my brother with our inheritance. This happened a couple of years ago, but the repercussions are still very much alive today. Growing up, my brother Alex and I were inseparable. We had the usual sibling rivalries, but at the end of the day, we always had each other's backs. Our parents often told us about the importance of family and how we should always stick together. When our parents passed away in a tragic accident, we were both devastated. They left behind a sizable inheritance, which was meant to be split equally between the two of us. Given our close bond, we decided to put the money in a joint account until we figured out the best way to use or invest it. A few months after their passing, Alex approached me with a business proposition. He had met a friend who had a seemingly lucrative investment opportunity. It involved buying a piece of land that was supposedly rich in minerals. Alex was convinced that this was our ticket to even greater wealth and a way to honor our parents' legacy. I was hesitant at first. The whole thing sounded too good to be true. But seeing Alex's enthusiasm and trusting his judgment, I agreed to use a significant portion of our inheritance for the investment. Weeks turned into months, and every time I inquired about the progress of our investment, Alex would assure me that things were moving along and that we'd see returns soon. However, I started to get suspicious when he bought a new luxury car and moved into a high-end apartment. One evening, I decided to do some digging. I contacted the land registry office and found out that the plot of land we supposedly invested in didn't exist. Panicking, I checked our joint account, only to find it nearly empty. Confronting Alex was one of the hardest things I've ever done. He broke down and confessed that there was no investment. The friend he had met was a con artist who had sweet-talked him into parting with our money. While Alex had initially been duped, he later became complicit, spending the money on lavish luxuries for himself. I felt utterly betrayed. The money, while significant, wasn't the main issue. It was the shattered trust between us. We had lost our parents, and now, in a way, I felt like I had lost my brother too. We're no longer in contact. I've sought legal advice to see if there's any way to recover the lost funds, but the prospects look grim. It's a painful lesson in trust and the importance of due diligence. TLDR. Trusted my brother with our joint inheritance. He got conned into a fake investment and then used the remaining money for his personal luxuries, leaving me with nothing and our relationship in ruins.
Title: Tifu, by accidentally becoming the star of a reality show. I've always been a private person. The idea of sharing my life with strangers, especially on the internet, was never appealing. So, imagine my surprise when I found out I had unwittingly become the star of a popular reality show. It all started when I moved to a new city for a job. I found a quaint apartment in the heart of downtown, fully furnished and surprisingly affordable. The landlord, Mr. Jenkins, was an eccentric older gentleman with a penchant for colorful bow ties and an obsession with vintage cameras. He explained that the low rent was due to the building's age and occasional maintenance issues. Eager to settle in, I signed the lease without a second thought. Life in the new city was an adjustment. I had quirky neighbors, like Mrs. Green, the cat lady with exactly 17 cats, and Tim, the aspiring musician who played the bagpipes at 3 a.m. There was also the local diner where the coffee tasted like motor oil, but the pancakes were heavenly. One day, after a particularly embarrassing incident involving a misbuttoned shirt and a presentation at work, my colleague, Lisa, approached me, laughing. "Saw your little fashion mishap on Life Unscripted last night? Hilarious episode," she said. Confused, I asked her what she was talking about. She pulled up a popular streaming site on her phone, and there I was, on the homepage, featured in a show called Life Unscripted. The show's premise? A hidden camera reality series showcasing the humorous, unfiltered lives of unsuspecting individuals. Horrified, I binge-watched the episodes. There I was, singing off-key in the shower, having heated debates with my microwave, and yes, the infamous misbuttoned shirt incident. The show had a massive following, with fans loving the genuine and relatable moments. I confronted Mr. Jenkins, who sheepishly admitted that the maintenance issues were, in fact, crew members setting up and maintaining hidden cameras throughout the building. He had signed a deal with a production company after facing financial difficulties. The low rent was essentially my unwitting payment for being on the show. Feeling betrayed, I consulted a lawyer. While the lease had some vague language about media rights, it was determined that my privacy had been violated. The show was promptly cancelled, and I received a significant settlement. However, the damage was done. Everywhere I went, people recognized me. Some were sympathetic, while others just wanted to relive my most embarrassing moments. My private life had become public entertainment. Determined to reclaim my privacy, I moved to a remote town, where the internet was a luxury and reality TV was a foreign concept. Here, surrounded by nature and a tight-knit community, I found peace. But life has a funny way of coming full circle. One day, a young filmmaker visited the town, inspired by my story. With my consent, we collaborated on a documentary about P.